This is based on a true life story. Make sure you watch till the end. I'm sure you will want to know what happened in the end. Don't miss out. The courtroom buzzed with its usual activity: lawyers rustling papers, spectators whispering softly, and the faint sound of a gavel in a nearby room. Judge Eleanor Hayes sat at her bench, composed and professional. To her, it seemed like just another day, just another case. The bailiff called, "The State of Louisiana versus James Anderson." Eleanor shifted slightly, glancing over the charges: assault, robbery, and resisting arrest. Another soul tangled in the system, she thought, her heart sinking. But when the defendant entered, her world tilted. Standing shackled before her was James Anderson, her childhood best friend. Memories of their youth flooded back: racing bicycles on dusty streets, late-night talks under the magnolia tree, and their childhood promises to always stand by each other. Yet, the man before her wasn't the boy she remembered. Life had left its mark on him. James looked up briefly, recognition flashing in his eyes before he quickly looked away. Eleanor managed to keep her voice steady as she began the trial, but her heart raced with unanswered questions. What had happened to him? How had their paths diverged so drastically? The prosecutor began presenting the case, describing a robbery at a convenience store where James was accused of assaulting a clerk and stealing cash. James was caught nearby with the stolen money, they claimed. Eleanor, struggling to focus, recalled their childhood in Hammond, Louisiana, a town divided by racial lines. Their friendship had been an unusual bond in a segregated community, and it ended abruptly one summer when her father intervened, forbidding her from seeing James again. As she listened to the case unfold, Eleanor's mind was torn between her duty as a judge and the memories of their shared past. James had faced a series of minor offenses over the years, but his record didn't align with the violent crime he was accused of. Could he have done it? Or was there more to his story? During a break, Eleanor wrestled with her emotions. Her assistant noticed her distraction, but didn't press. Returning to the courtroom, Eleanor prepared to hear the prosecutor present his case to the jury, all while grappling with the profound realization that her childhood friend's future lay in her hands. The prosecutor, Richard Powell, opened the trial with a firm declaration: this case was about violence. He described James Anderson as a man who had attacked an innocent store clerk without provocation before robbing the cash register. His clinical tone left Eleanor uneasy. To him, James seemed nothing more than a case file, a defendant without a story. The defense attorney, Lisa Porter, then rose to speak. Despite her youth, she exuded confidence as she outlined James's innocence. Lisa argued that this case wasn't as simple as the prosecution portrayed and promised to challenge the assumptions made at the time of James's arrest. The first witness, a store clerk, recounted seeing a man, matching James's description, argue with a cashier before lunging over the counter. His detailed testimony felt rehearsed. Lisa's cross-examination skillfully revealed a key inconsistency. The clerk admitted he couldn't clearly see the suspect's face due to poor lighting and the man's hood being up. This slight concession seemed to bring a faint glimmer of hope to James. Next, the prosecution presented surveillance footage. Although the video showed a figure in a red hoodie entering the store and lunging toward the counter, the poor quality made it impossible to definitively identify the individual. The prosecution insisted it was James, but Eleanor couldn't shake her doubts. Could the grainy image truly represent him? James's defense relied on his alibi. He had been walking home from a friend's house at the time of the robbery. However, his friend, fearing retaliation, refused to testify. Lisa argued that the lack of testimony didn't make James guilty, but skepticism among the jury was palpable. Eleanor, tasked with maintaining impartiality, struggled as the trial progressed. Memories of her shared past with James weighed heavily on her. She longed to speak with him directly, to ask what had happened, but such contact was impossible. Her role as a judge demanded fairness, yet she doubted whether the justice system could fully uncover the truth. The defense's case reached a crucial turning point when Lisa called Officer Daniel Harris, the arresting officer, to the stand. Harris recounted arresting James 2 blocks from the scene of the robbery, believing he matched the description of the suspect, a black man in his mid-40s wearing dark clothing. Lisa seized upon the discrepancy. The suspect in the video wore a red hoodie. Harris admitted no red hoodie was found on James at the time of his arrest, and that officers didn't search the area for discarded evidence. Lisa pressed further, challenging Harris on the assumptions underlying James's arrest. With each hesitation, the cracks in the prosecution's narrative began to show, leaving Eleanor and the courtroom to wonder whether James had been unfairly judged from the start. And with this, she was able to press harder on the issue that stated partiality and had to hold the side of her childhood best friend and how to help him out of the mess and the incompetence they might have put him through. He must have been the luckiest person that day to JV encounter his childhood friend who always thought of a way to rescue him. I hope you enjoy this episode. More to come and life-based changing stories to come. Please subscribe to our channel and like and share. Thank you very much. Bye.